Good morning, everyone. Let's jump right into the reading. So, the first card we have the Seven of Shields. So, this is a card that just in the last year or two, I've really got a really good sense of what it means. And for me, I was uh, just worried about my son, just the way parents do, feeling like, oh, are we going to get through this? And I drew the Seven of Shields. And the Seven of Shields is, again, back to the Rider Waite deck, shows a farmer who has planted his crops. Um, and sort of the story behind it is no amount of wishing or hoping or begging or being impatient or nagging someone else is going to make those crops grow any faster than they're going to grow. It takes, it just, there is a certain amount of time and there's nothing you can do about it, and you need to just be accepting of that. So when I got that in a reading where I was thinking about my son, it just clicked for me. This card is about kids are going to take they're going to take their own time to grow up and mature, and they're not supposed to be instantly mature because they're kids. That's why it takes 18 years for them to even leave the house. So it I took it as it telling me to be patient and accepting that this is just the way it is, and it's okay. It's supposed to be that way. It's supposed to take that long. The Eight of Swords. Um, it has a very good image for this card that I use, and that is it shows a woman blindfolded with 8 swords making a circle around her. However, if you look closely, one of the swords is not um, perfectly in line with the circle, and so it's making, I guess you could, an opening in the circle. Now, but she's blindfolded. If she were only to remove her blindfold, she would see that she could actually get out, that she's not trapped. And because it's a sword card, this really points to there is a block in your mind. Swords are thoughts that is keeping you trapped in this perceived situation that you're in. You perceive that you're trapped, but it's your perception and your own block in your mind that is keeping you where you are, whether it's a bad job, a bad relationship, preventing you from following your dreams, from um, anything. I mean, it could be as simple as you've always wanted to dance or take a dance class, and for some reason you're too afraid to do it for some reason. It doesn't have to be anything super major, but in kind of a way, this card is saying, you're being your own worst enemy, and it's something in your own mind that you need to usually let go, so you can just take that blindfold off and, oh, wow, I can just get out right there. I'm really not trapped. Lots of times the swords asks us to remove all that emotional baggage that we carry and that visceral reactions that we have, and try to take that filter, because we filter our lives through these emotions and these perceptions of how things are going to happen. And the Eight of Swords asks us to let that go and try to really see things much in a much simpler way, without all the excess baggage. So let's move to the next card. So I'm going to actually pull the next card before I look at these all together. Oh, the Tower. So the Tower, it's one of those dreaded cards. Oh God, the Tower. Total mass destruction. But really, I'm trying to embrace these more negative cards. And the Eight of Swords is one of those cards where sometimes people are like, oh, but I really embrace that because it's, come on, you can completely solve this. It's just a block in your own mind. So that's really not, in the grand scheme of things, it's a big deal. You can solve it. You can deal with that. So the Tower usually shows up when we need to sort of break out of the Eight of Swords. We need to stop being in that perpetual state of, oh, I'm trapped, I can't get out, I don't know what to do, this is awful. The Tower comes along and forces us out of that Ring of Swords. It doesn't wait for us to see it. It's just, it forces a change that needed to happen anyway, but for some reason we could not bring about ourselves. And I think in this reading, it's talking about our own mental blocks. So an extreme example is if you're in a job you hate and you get fired from it. You probably should have walked away from it a long time ago or tried harder to find a new one, but you were just sitting there complaining and hating it. The Tower will come along and say, well, you know what, enough of this, you're out of there. It could be you're in a bad relationship and you're thinking of leaving and you find out your spouse is cheating on you, or they come in and leave you, which even though you wanted out could be devastating. So it does, the Tower does point to sort of a bigger event, but the real meaning behind it is that it will inside spiritually change you. And even though it might be painful, it will really strip down everything to what's important, and it will change your life and end up being in a very positive way. Perhaps you've been too materialistic and your house burns down. It'll, be very painful, especially, with things like pictures and stuff to lose. But in a way, it may be very freeing to be released of all those material goods that you spent way too much time worrying about, and realize that your family was safe, hopefully your pets were safe, and that's all that truly matters. So it's a way of, it forces you to put things in perspective. So looking at everything together, there's a block within us that we really need to address. I'm trying to really think about the Seven of Shields here. It asks us to be patient. However, the Tower is going to bring about this change sooner than later. So perhaps once we can free ourselves from the Eight of Swords, we need to be patient that the change we made, maybe we finally have the mental clarity to get out of the Circle of Swords, but we have to be patient with ourselves, because that doesn't mean things are going to be exactly the way we want them to be now that we've had this realization, or that we feel like we've broken away. I think sometimes when people get divorced, they think it's sort of a get out of jail free card and everything's going to be awesome. And then they realize that they need to start their lives completely over. They need to learn to be alone if that isn't something that has been within their comfort zone. And it can be, not that, it can be upsetting, but it isn't the end all be all. And there's a period of adjustment that just is, and no amount of wanting it to feel better right away or anything is going to change that. And same thing after the Tower's effects. There's going to be a healing process, and it's going to take as long as it takes, and it might be frustrating, and you may be questioning, but wait a minute, I finally made this change. I've been needing to make it, whether I was responsible for the change or not. What happened needed to happen, so why don't I feel better now? Why isn't everything great? So just remember the Seven of Shields is telling you that it's a process, and you need to go through that process. You can't skip it. You can't cut the line, and you will get there. Every child grows up. The crops do grow, and it just takes the time it takes. So this is Jen from Tarot Spirit. I hope you have a good week. I think this is going to be a really cleansing week. For some reason that comes to mind, that we're going to be able to release some things that we've really been hanging on to that have been dragging us down. And it might be a little scary. It might be upsetting at first, but I think in the long run, it's going to be completely transformative. And we'll be grateful that it happened, because without it happening, we wouldn't get to the place we need to go. Okay. I hope you have a great month, Virgo. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you at another video. Take care.